All right, okay, guys, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Francisco, Plain Guy, and so on. Somebody else had a battery problem this morning on 2%. I can't remember it was. Go load, go charge it, man. Come back, put it on power, and then enjoy the show. Guys, I need a minute or so just to try and see if we can get David's explain running. It does not appear so. It just doesn't appear so. The whole idea behind tonight's stream was to help my friend David get back into the Zibo. So that's why we called it the refresher and, quick start. Um, but he's using Explain on Steam, and the moment we go to the public beta, it point blank refuses to load. It just simply refuses. David, I want to try one or two things before we give up, and then we just make it a show instead of something else. So I'm going to just quickly uh, zip this up. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Let's try that first, actually. There, program settings. Just reset that, restore. Right, apply. Okay, I don't want to show you guys. Okay, got it. Blind guy. Guys, I'm not showing you David's personal space here, his desktop. So just bear with us. We really want to try and see if we can get this thing to fire up, because it would have been so awesome to just have him with us. There we go, David. Can you believe it? It seems to be that. Can you believe that? NVIDIA settings. Damn it! After all we went through. We've been fighting for half an hour to get this explain to work. David, where are you? Talk to me. All right, okay, so let's get back to basics. All right, we can delete that file. Let's go to your resources, plugins. Hmm. Yeah, the joys and the fun of helping people and computers and mixing, you know, all the stories. David, I think we're gonna be okay now. Yeah, plain guy. Coming back to you now. Don't let stuff like that bother you, man. Don't let it be embarrassing. We all have stories and stories, you know. Let me see. What are we looking at here? Plugins, which file? We don't need them then. Alright, so hang on. That was a wrong move. As far as I know, we did put the preferences back, eh, David? Yeah, they are back. Right, so you can delete those two files later. Let's rock and roll. See if we can get you onto the system here. Blind guy, for me to recall that is going to be uh, a hard task. I've been flight simming since 1986 on the ZX Spectrum. That's when I had my first flight simulator. From there on, it went through all the normal SubLogic and Microsoft stuff and all. I didn't really seriously pursue it at one point in time in the 90s because I was new, fresh in the job, just out of my studies. And what then happened was, uh, I then got back involved in 98 with Microsoft Flight Sim 98 big time. And from there on, it just went to where we are today. Right, guys, we're almost ready. I'm just checking that David is starting up nicely. They explained that side. And I'm going to start my FS Cloud now as well. Right, let's close this thing. We're going to have an issue probably again. Well, we'll see. Let's see. Get out. How many years have you been flight simming, plane guy? Right, David. Looks like you are in game, and all we need to do is see that we can see each other now. Simulator. Thank you.
Hello, Cap. My name is Linda. I am your first officer today.
Right, so you should appear somewhere there in a second or 10. Let's see. I should be there on your screen. Okay, while we are waiting, David, what we are going to need is we're going to need Active Sky. We are going to need STKP, and that's about it. The rest will just fall in place. While you're waiting, I'm sure you can fire up your Active Sky so long and also your Sim Toolkit Pro. Plane Guy 787, are you, in other words, a real world pilot? 787 pilot, perhaps? That's fine. Let's see. It seems mine is up to date. I'm on version 6.25, so I think mine is up to date. I'm still waiting for you. Let's see if this cloud is running. Oh, look where I spawned. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's why I don't see you. Hang on. I need to move that way. Why on earth would you spawn there? I want to be there. Let's close it. Move. Ah, there's David. There we go. All right. Okay. So I've opened up David and the gang here on Discord as well. You can go to map if you want, David. It's a good place to be, or you can just go to chat on your screen. Here at the top, yeah. All right, I can see you. You should be able to see me. You can put your Sim Toolkit Pro on one of your other screens because it's kind of going to be, a big thing. And I'm going to jump off your computer. Is that okay with you? Are you okay to close AnyDesk? All right. Don't like that livery you see me as, but anyway. All right, David, I'm not hearing anything from you, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but
Sorry, I forget to push the button while I'm talking.
okay, cool. Okay, I have disconnected from your machine. We can see each other. Um, I'm not sure if that's an anomaly in FS Cloud or what, but your lights and everything seems on. What we want to have is a complete cold and dark situation. Um, and then I'm going to take you step by step through. Guys, so just to recap quickly, hello, Krister. David flew the Zibo mod like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and he wants a refresher course. So I said, okay, let's come to Porto. I'm going to do a circuit. We're not going to fly far and high, but in the circuit here, for those of you that are not familiar with the circuit, you can do any and everything that your heart desire as in any other flight, even though you only climb to 11,000 feet, David. So our flight level will be 11,000 feet. I haven't checked the weather, nothing. I don't know what's going on here. So we're going to do that step by step together. I presume your active sky is running.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I just want to force a reload. For some reason, this thing sometimes just doesn't load. I just want to make sure that we get all the clouds. You see, there we go. All of a sudden, everything is working. Hello, Steel. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So, on screen, are you watching my YouTube stream, David?
Yes, yes.
All right. I'm going to switch on SDKP then. All right, there you go. Just look down a little bit. All right. Okay, so the way I'm going to start is I'm going to use Navigraph. I will give you the exported file because I believe you do not have Navigraph right now. So we're going to do it step by step. I'm going to show you how it is done on this side, and then I'll export the file and I'll just share it with you here on Discord. So I'm going to go create a new flight. We're going to go LPPR as the departure. And we're going to go LPPR as the destination. And we're going to go create. All right, so
So will I do the flight planning on my side also, or you just going to give me the files?
I'm just going to give you the file. What you can do is I'll also give you the text so you can then enter it into some Toolkit Pro because you need the OFP and all the rest as well. So I'm going to basically you're going to do everything except the Navigraph. I think that's a short way of saying it. Right, Francisco, the new co-pilot is semi with it. Yes, I know there's a story about it. She's okay. It's definitely worth investing in her. But I'm still working on her. I'm not done with her yet. And hello, Paul. All right, so let's now go to our tools and data. Let's have a look at this wind situation. So we are at LPPR. Right, our wind is 330 at 16, which means runway 35 will be active. Do you concur? Can you just check on your side that you have the same?
Yeah, but I don't think we've loaded my Zibo into SimToolkey Pro. We've only got the 208.
Oh, okay, but that's not a problem. We can quickly get the Zibo in there. It's actually going to be a problem here now that I think about it, because you don't have an airframe for it in SimBrief either, eh?
No, we didn't register.
All right, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything. Then we'll do it, and then I won't stream it again, but you and I can then just redo this flight, tomorrow maybe. All right.
Okay, yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit overwhelming for me, so maybe I should just sit and watch you.
Okay,
And
cool.
I'll do the flight.
All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, so we have runway 35 active, and we're going to then use that as our basis. So we're going to go runway 35. So we're going to fly up north. We are then going to look for Mani 1 east or west. I think we're going to go west. So that's basically what it looks like. Let's just change that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go for able to D. And we're going to use I'll I'm talking nonsense. That's not the right one. Able 5 Charlie is what we want. That's what we want, because it's a circuit, not the half a circuit. And then we're going to go, I'm going to use the RNAV on runway 35. Now, what's nice about runway 35 is you've got the RNAV and the VOR DME, and you can do your LPV EGNOS approaches. You can also do visual approaches on this side. On the other side, you've got the VOR DME, and you can do ILS. But on both sides, Ian is enabled. So if you guys know what Ian is, where you simulate an ILS with your VOR DME or your RNAV approaches, it is available. David, and I'll talk you through that when the time comes as well. Okay. So there you go. We've just quickly in a minute built a nice circuit for us. One of the tricks is now what I usually do is I just open the charts and then start saving some of the detail for me, because some of it will be relevant. You will see in a minute. Okay. One of the things about the Zibo, David, that has been brought into play that wasn't there when you last flew it is it actually now looks at the altitude restrictions. Altitude restrictions is very important for it. So at this point, we need to be flight level 100 or above. That's 10,000 feet or above. And seeing as I've flown the circuit a lot, I know 11,000 is a cool value to have in there. Let's just check this one. You see, now that is 11,000 on that one. So you need to be 11,000 or above at that point. And that is why I also then choose flight level 110 for the circuit altitude. So let's just save, let's pin this. And then we're going to go for the RNAV, show the chart, pin that one, and we'll discuss everything then as we continue. So I'm just going to copy that route quickly. Come on, wrong button, copy. Right, then I am going to export this one. Let me just grab it quickly, export LPPR, LPPR. Okay, David, so above our heads in Discord, 3 rooms up is the stream announcement room. There you will find the FMS file. I've just copied it in there so you can actually grab it. All right, for the guys on YouTube, let me just quickly edit this thing. Live stream, edit. I just gonna put the text of the flight plan in there, save it. Okay, so if you guys want to see the actual flight plan, just press Control F5, then go read the notes below the video. I've just put the flight plan in there, the text of it, so it's there for you. All right, okay, so we now have the route. We've exported the route. I've got it in my clipboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to flight planning. I'm going to generate the plan. So it's LPPR. LPPR. I'm going to use the Ryanair template. Right, so we're going to take runway 35, land runway 35. We're going to specify this route. Right, we're going to use, let's just use 6. We don't have to rush it, short enough. Altitude will be 11,000 feet. Pax, let's just make it 160 for now, and cargo 0. Captain Geo, welcome, welcome. I just need to log into my sim brief. Right, there we go. Things are happening. Right, there we have the same route. Everything seems to be fine. I'm just going to click on fly now. And there we have all the information that we need to continue. Right, so first order of business, David, like we briefly discussed earlier, is we need to get the loading done. Obviously, we have a lot of cosmetics and things we can look at, like we can go to the doors and we can actually open all the doors now. So I always take the first 6 because they're the most important ones. I actually also have keyboard shortcuts. I don't have to do it with a mouse, so I can go Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, etc., you know. Oh, by the way, stop me if I'm going too fast, eh? All right, so next step is we're going to connect the GPU. I've opened the door, so I might as well use my ground handling, and we're just going to say drive up all. And just for the fun of it, let's change the livery to schematic. So it's a schematics livery already. Okay, good. So I'm trying to keep everything on screen so you guys can make the connections there. What I am also going to do is I'm going to set up my better pushback.
Run to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Right, I'm going to start my flight leg, and you guys will then also hear the pageant playing in the background with all the music and announcements and everything. So once the lady comes in, Trish comes and tells us that the law enforcement officer is on board. That's like a cue for me to go on to a next step in the pageant. But for now, we're just concentrating this side. So the loading is where it needs to start. So I'm going to scroll down to the weights, and I'm going to grab my payload. I'm going to look at 16.6 as the sum total. Come on. Alright, there you can see it's loaded, everything wobbles. David, you are able, there are certain shortcuts that you can use. You can manipulate the packs as well, but basically the only thing I manipulate is the cargo, because we're going to do a CG shift later on. So just bear that in mind. It gets really hairy when you try and balance all the passengers to come back to this sum total. So it's easier for me to just put the sum total and then manipulate the cargo. Okay. And that will give us the correct graphs and stuff. Another thing, David, which we haven't done on your system, is we need to set these weights for you. You need to have these weights set up correctly. We'll do that for you later as well. and for those of you that haven't done it, please try and do that. In my installation guide is the whole screenshot with, you know, the whole explanation and everything as well. Or you guys can just pause the video and just copy it. But it's kind of important to do so. Then the next thing we need to put is the fuel, and the fuel tells us 4.3. And guys, very importantly, you'll see that it's got the actual fuel and it's got where we want to go to. You need to go click back and you need to call the fuel truck. Unless little Yeri comes and fills you up, there is no ways that you're going to get that fuel. So it's very important that you guys do this. Alright, and also because it's automated to that degree, what will happen is once he's finished with the loading, there you see he's disappeared, he's gone, tata bye bye. So we don't have to worry about that. You'll also see the fuel truck has now turned green and everything is exactly the way we wanted it to be. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. So the next thing that I do, and you look, you obviously have my checklist as well. I'm going to skip Linda for now. You know, let's just do it the old school way. So I'm going to go put on the battery. I'm going to latch onto the ground power. Emergency exit needs to come on. Nav light needs to come on to say we have a qualified pilot. That emergency light by rights should be on before the passengers load, because if there is an emergency, you can get into trouble if they can't get out and they don't know where to go. So another thing you know about that. Hello Steve, welcome. The rest for now is going to be a bit cosmetic. We just want the lighting to be done, you know, correct ambience for the flight. And then I'm going to turn the knobs to nav and get this IRS alignment done. And by turning the knob there at the top, I can actually see the time to align is 7 minutes. Alright. Next thing that I usually do is I set up my lights. Hello Anthony. And we also go do them on the pedestal. Steve, I am. She's quirky and she's got a couple of things I really want to fix, but she really works well. I cannot complain about her working. The Microsoft speech engine does not like my accent. It's just, there's one or two phrases or words that it really can't hear. It just doesn't understand what I'm saying. But we'll work on that. I'm sure if I train it a little bit more, she'll come right. Because like the word cut off, for instance, in the beginning, she didn't, or the Microsoft speech couldn't hear when I said off. Off meant something else to her. At one point in time, it actually meant on to the speech engine. So it was a bit of a consternation. But I see now all of a sudden the speech engine recognizes when I say off. So yeah. Anyway, Krister, I don't know. It's just a funny thing. Quirky little thing. You know, they're actually expecting a bit of an American accent because everything is set up in American English. So whatever. Yeah, there's a lot there, Steve. Anyway, let's continue. My next step, David, is going to be to go to the FMC. I'm going to go set up the position. And I know you know this, but I'm just mentioning it for the rest of the crowd. You always go to page 2 and you get a GPS left. Always. There's no exception in this. If you take your airport or any other coordinate, you run the risk of IRS drift and all kinds of other nonsense like in the real world. So you always take that one. Then we go to the route. For our purposes, LPPR is good enough. We're going to import it into the company route. I'm just going to put in my flight number. And we're going to activate it. And execute, obviously. Alright, now the runway is not filled by default. So the way to bypass that issue is you go to your departure page, you select or deselect the runway and reselect it, execute it, and it should be okay. And let's see what you guys are saying on stream. Plane guy, I've got all the simulators. I've got Lockheed Martin's P3D. I've got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I've got them all. I just don't stream them because my affiliation and my loyalty and my work is with Zibo. So, and this is what the guys kind of expect on my stream. I had a wonderful conversation with a viewer the other day who was actually very direct with me, and he said, if you stream anything else other than Zibo, I don't come. It's not for me. I don't want to see anything else. So you got that too. So everybody knows me as the Zibo streamer, and that's where we concentrate. All right, David, so while the alignment runs, or whether it runs or not, the way to check the legs is we're going to go to the plan view, and we are going to step through on the legs page. We're going to check for discontinuities and any funnies and things. Alright, so there we see everything is fine. We've even got the go around, so that's it. Okay, then we can actually turn that back. In STKP, and that's what is making it so wonderful for me, is we can go to the weather and we can actually get our QNH right there. And while we are here, we might as well just set it up 1014. Alright. Okay, then what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to our FMC. Come on. We're going to go to the route. We're going to go to preferences. We're going to click on zero fuel weight to load everything in. I'm going to refer back to STKP, and I need to make sure that my zero fuel weight is correct, and I see there's a discrepancy, so I need to quickly just see. Obviously there one of my settings is out, so I need to go see which one it is. That's the one 450. Right, so if we go back, there we go, 59.8, exactly what we are expecting. Our takeoff weight is 63.9, and there it shows 64.1. The 200 kilogram difference, guys, is the taxi fuel. Okay, the OFP looks at the takeoff weight at the threshold as you get onto the runway, and this one includes the taxi fuel because we still have to get there. That was a funny thing you said there. I couldn't understand that, plane guy. Anyway, see, you've retracted it. Right, okay, so then to get our reserves, we're going to move up. We're going to look at alternate and fin res together. So I'm not using a calculator. I'm going to guess that's about 1.3 tons. We're going to go 1.3 ton. And the cost index, we said we're going to use is 6, and just to make sure that it is so, you can check there is your cruise cost index. Alright, CI of 6. I'm going to go flight level 110, and Paul, you don't know what I just heard in my mind, a small voice saying flaps, flaps. Plane guy, yeah, the first officer has now arrived, so we make use of her when we have to. 35 to 21. It's funny. Flaps, flaps. You look at these two lines. Alternate and fin res. You see 1233 and 1082. So let me grab a calculator to make you feel more comfortable. If we take 1233 and we add 1082, that gives us 2300. Actually, I made a mistake. See, thank you for asking. So let's make it 2.3. I don't know where I got 1.3 from. I was obviously not concentrating that hard. So we've got 2.3. That value there plus that value there is what you're supposed to put in. That's your reserves. Thanks, Hector. Almost made a mistake. Alright, so then we execute. Guys, you never ever leave a page without executing. Once that light comes on, you click execute. And if there is any activate or something similar written in that line, you have to. Don't move off. You're going to forget. And then you're going to have an issue flying later on. So just be careful of that. Alright, in terms of the outside air temperature, depending on your setting on the Zibo tablet, whether you're using an aspirated or non-aspirated probe, it will either fill in the blanks for you, or you can fill in the blanks. Now the OAT is easy enough to get. Oh, come on, mouse. We can use that value, 21, so we can actually enter it, and we can say /21. Right, or you can just double click it. That's a little sim shortcut that is made available to us. Alright, I'm not going to go in great detail into SEL. Alright, we're going to just select the Takeoff 2, and we can do climb because it's a short flight. We just want to get up, be in the cruise. Right, in one of the other tutorials that's on my YouTube channel, you can go and listen and see what SEL is all about, or you can Google it. We don't need it right now, so we're going to skip that. This is just a quick refresher tutorial. Anyway, alright, so before I fill in the CG here, what I am going to do is I'm going to look at the load balancing on the tablet and then make sure we get the desired values. So let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to look at the graph. Plain guy, I've been streaming over 2 years. I'm not sure. I'll have to go find one of the old videos and see, but it's over 2 years. I've also got a Twitch stream where I've been streaming even longer. So yeah, it's been a while. Okay, David, you obviously have to zoom in a little bit. You can see the landing weight has got a CG of 18.7. Now what we want is we want it as close as possible to 21.5. The way the Zibo is configured is this will give you a very stable takeoff CG, but not so stable, and I don't mean it's unstable, it's just not so stable, approach and landing phase. Alright, so what we want to do is we don't worry about the takeoff phase, we can handle that. We want a more stable landing phase. So this being 18.7, and if you have an imaginary line from the top to the bottom somewhere there, this will be the nose and this will be the tail. We need to move the weight a little bit to the back. So what I'm going to do is in the load page, I'm going to take 500 kilograms. That's just a thumb suck, and it seems to be a reasonable one. So that will be 206. I'm going to take the 500 and put it that side so it becomes 1463. And then we're going to go read it again. Now you see there we have 21.6. I'm not going to worry about the 0.1. Okay, that's out. That's close enough for me. We can go home and we can go back to the FMC. Now we can click on the CG and we can actually load the V-speeds. As easy as that. That ends the section of our FMC. Alright, so depending on the checklist that you use, you can either now go to the overhead, which is the normal thing to do, so we can start setting up the yaw damper, and we can go look at a couple of other things. So how it is supposed to work is you go from top to bottom and then left to right. So we're going to go through all of this, check everything is okay. We can set that one onto the APU. We'll start that just now. Once we get to the bottom, we can flick the switch for the APU. Once that light comes on, I usually just count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and I flick it, and that usually starts the APU for us. Alright, so in the background you would have heard Trish already talk about the Leo is on board. That's the law enforcement officer. So at this point in time we can actually just switch on the fasten seatbelt, and you'll hear her now continue with the pageant.
Just as a reminder, we cannot leave the gate until all carrying items are properly put away. All overhead bins are closed and all passengers are seated.
It actually works. Alright, so we've got the APU running now. We can put the APU on the bus before we continue. One thing of note is in the old days and also for extended periods of time, one would usually switch on the left forward fuel pump. And there's a whole story behind that story. It's not important right now. The Zibo Mod conforms to the latest FCOM and the latest design of the Boeing. It will make use of the built-in fuel pump. I mean, we're going to run it for like 5 minutes. It's not the end of the world, so I don't really bother with that. If you want to feel better, please switch on that one. Otherwise, so what? It's not necessary. That is a design function or a design feature of the later generations, the newer Boeings. Right, then what we are going to do, again, just moving over one column, we're going to basically start up our windshield heaters so that we can get the window heat going. We make sure the probes are off. The version of the probes that I use, let me show you that setting anyway. I think it's in here. Can't remember exactly. I have to find it now. There we go. Aspirated TAT probe. I'm not using an aspirated TAT probe. Mine is not aspirated, so it relies on the wind passing through it and over it to actually cool it down. And if you have it on this setting and if you switch them on at the wrong time, this value, your TAT, I'll actually show you if I can remember. This can go up to 99 degrees Celsius. It gets very, very hot, and it obviously then gives you a very skewed value while you are taxiing. So what happens now is we keep them off anyway until the engines are started, and we only switch them on before we start the taxi, because if there isn't any wind going through those things or over them, it's going to really heat up terribly. Okay, so we're going to leave them off. Our anti-ice is not required. We can put our hydraulics on now. In the real world, depending on your operator and depending on the area where you fly, you will have one on, one off, and there's whole stories behind it. Don't worry about it. It's just a simulation. So we're going to use both of them right now. Plane guy, the Boeing requires more attention and more work. The Airbus doesn't have half the work. I think it's easier to fly an Airbus just because of that. But then again, if you've practiced, I mean, this is nothing. It's just part of the deal. Right, so once the hydraulic systems are online, we can now go further. We want the trim air switch to be on. We're going to switch on our pressurization system, and at this point in time, we need to then set up the overhead for 11,000. David, our landing altitude is going to be 200. Hello, Sim 737 pilot. Hector, just below the video, if you click on show more, the link is in there. Come in there, do your bit. There's 2 little actions that you need to do. Once you've done that, I'll give you your permissions and you can come and sit here with us. Alright, so that takes care of our overhead. We've done our pressurization, the knob is on auto. We are happy with this. So the next phase is going to be the MCP. So we're going to start up the auto throttle, the flight director for the captain. We're going to go to set the RTO rejected takeoff setting. We're then going to match 145 knots there. Alright, while we're talking about this, there are 2 ways to do the takeoff with the autopilot, and then there's obviously the manual way. Plane guy, yes, I have unfortunately, and I also did it once because of icing. The icing killed me, and the other time it was Active Sky that just destroyed me. There was an issue in the beginning with Active Sky that the Zibo Mod didn't like, and it just ripped my wings off. but it happens. Other than that, not really. I think I crashed once at Paro, maybe. That was another time. But it's not important right now. Let's talk about this. You can either use heading select, and your flight director on the FO side will then get active, and that's a very popular way of taking off. And then you can use your level change and do things. For our purposes, and when I do basic training, alright, we rely a little bit more on automation, so we're going to use LNAV and VNAV, and we're going to actually rely on that to work for us. Now, if you get to this point of the setup and those two lights do not arm, because they're not active yet, they're just armed. If they don't arm, it means you made a grave mistake somewhere. You're going to have to go rerun through your FMC, and you're going to have to check your flight directors, because if that one is not on, that one will not light up, for instance. That's just a little fail safe. Alright, so now that we've, sorry you guys don't see it, didn't look high enough. My screen looks a bit different than yours, sorry. Alright, so if those lights do not arm, then there's a problem. And if you forgot your FO, flight director, you see VNAV will never arm. So there's a couple of just tricks to note that can help yourself to actually just understand it better. Alright, so we have 145 dialed in. We need to get 352 or 351, I think is the actual course heading. We'll check in the FMC later as well. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks, some 737. I just looked up and I saw, that's a bit of a problem. We're going to go set our 351, and we're going to set 351 there as well. Wow, that's fast. 351. No sir, that's got nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. What that is referring to is when you are flying, you need to basically be pointing semi in the right direction before the LNAV will actually arm. But there are ways around that too, which we can discuss later on. Not important right now. Alright, so let's quickly just get rid of these two little buttons. We don't need them. We don't need these guys at this point in time. Alright, I think we've done almost everything that we need to do, and now we just need to set our trim, something like that. Alright, so our next step, close the doors. We're going to wave off the good people on the outside. Drive away, guys, thank you. Then we're going to go to ground services, better push back, request push back. Alright, what we are going to do now is we're going to switch on our beacon light, because we have to tell the guys that we're getting ready to go, and they need to get their hands off. Alright, so all the fuel pumps come on right now. We do not have any fuel in the center fuel pumps. I mean, it's a short flight, so we're not going to worry about the center fuel pumps. The next thing that we are going to do is we're just going to switch off the packs so that we get a little bit more of the air pressure there, so we can start the engines. Teresa's just done her closing of the door and also telling us she's ready. Then let's see.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
I think we're ready to go. Gentlemen on Discord, any idea if I missed something? I think I've done everything, but if your keen eyes pick up something, please tell me. Guys on stream, you're welcome to shout if you see something is missing. Just want to quickly get Hector in here. I think that must be Hector that is asking. So followers pilot. There you go. Done. Some 737 pilot. No, she's fully voice interactive and button interactive. Let me show you. Before start procedure.
Before start procedure.
Christer, the generators cannot go on because the engines aren't running yet.
Before start procedure completed.
Right, so the guys on the outside said we can let go of the parking brake. Let's go.
Starting pushback. You may start the engine.
Engine start procedure.
Engine start procedure.
Gotcha, Christer. No, they are. It's on. It's on.
Waiting for the command to start sequence.
Start number 2 engine.
Starting number 2 engine. N2.
Yeah, it's a script engine that's obviously hooked up to Microsoft speech recognition in Windows 10, and there you go.
Starter cutout.
Start number 1 engine.
Starting number 1 engine.
And she's got beautiful blue eyes, by the way. I just have to mention that.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Set parking brake.
Park brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
N2.
Sim 737 pilot, yes, she does when the sun goes down. She takes it off. Sweden. You think so? I think she's Russian. Plane guy, yes, that is true. A lot of operators actually do that. I've actually done it a few times on stream as well. When you start the aircraft with the air starter unit, I've done it a few times as well. Same kind of idea.
And signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Right, so just to show you guys, she's got this list here that you can also have a look at. So if you get lost like I am right now, we can actually see what procedure we need to do. So the before taxi procedure is now next, and you can actually click on it. You don't have to say it. You can literally, there's the pin from the guy on the outside. Before taxi procedure.
Before taxi procedure. Before taxi procedure completed.
Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist.
That sun is harsh.
Generators. On. Probe heat. On. Anti-ice. Wing anti-ice off. Engine anti-ice off. Isolation valve. Auto. Engine start switches. Continuous. Recall.
Checked.
Checked. Auto brake.
I actually didn't do it, so I better do it.
Rejected takeoff. Engine start levers.
Idle detent.
Flight control.
We checked them.
Flight controls is not checked.
Too clever for yourself.
Before taxi checklist is not completed.
Alright, so our next procedure is going to be before takeoff procedure, and there will be a checklist for that as well. We can then proceed. You can increase the speed of her voice. There is a menu for that. I just haven't done it. This is just her default. Let's quickly
Taxi
see.
lights on.
Voice rate. I'm
New
going to
rate's at
increase it by
60.
5%, so let's hear when she speaks again. We'll see how big a difference it makes. You can increase it in increments of 5%. David, I hope you're following, because I see you've muted yourself. You're obviously watching the stream, so I just hope you're following. Before takeoff procedure.
Before takeoff procedure.
Okay.
Before takeoff procedure completed.
Now she's talking fast, Plain guy, this is not a Zibo product, by the way. This is payware add-on. This is not about Zibo. FYI. Some pilot, that's their prerogative. They can do that. I don't do it that way. Because of what I do and how I train the guys, most people who come here are completely unfamiliar with the 737. If you start giving them funny SOPs and things, that's a sure way of losing a cadet, because it's just too much. You know, the people want everything done way too fast. You know, they can't take everything in a short little tutorial, you know, and things like that. So we try and make it just as easy and proper as we can at the same time. Right, so I'm just waiting for the flaps.
Flaps 5 set.
Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 5, green light.
Flaps 5 set. Green light. Detent. Stabilizer trim. 5-7 units set. Transponder. TARA set. Before takeoff checklist completed.
Alright, so before we go, I want to bring your attention to this facility. We're going to go to the tablet, save and load, save a flight situation. I'm going to save a flight situation right here, so if we need to come back, we can just load it from here. And then, in fact, let's keep it open. We can save a couple more flights, and then I'll show you guys how that works as well. It's $15, some 737. And it's from the AUX store. You just go grab it at the AUX store.
Stabilized.
Approaching 3-5. On runway 3-5.
I just want to get my nose wheel steering semi-correct, and there we go, Toga.
Takeoff thrust set. Knots. Throttle hold. Approaching transition. V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up. Runway turn off, lights off.
Plane guy 787, this is the Zibo Mod. That's why I've got the big name there at the bottom of the screen. This is a free 737 project, Flaps 1, that we are busy with. Zibo, his nickname is Zibo, his real name is Lubos. He made the Zibo Mod.
Flaps 1 set.
Flaps up.
Speed checked. Flaps up.
Alright, and it is specifically
Approaching
made
transition.
for X-Plane, because it is based upon the 737 that comes with X-Plane 11, exactly as is mentioned there.
Flaps up set.
Alright, so there we go. A couple of things have happened. She's put our gear to the off position. RTO was
Transition altitude.
cancelled. She also will take care of the lights for us, and then we need to just take care of our barrow there. After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Auto. Landing gear. Up and
Yes,
off.
it does. It works.
Flaps. Up. No light. Detent. Altimeters.
Standard set.
Standard set. Cross-checked. After takeoff checklist completed.
It's completely free. There is no charge for it. Do yourself a favor and grab it. If you've got to explain, grab it. But please just follow my install guide when you install it. My goodness, there's nothing that's going to confuse you more in the beginning, but once you get it, it's going to be easy. But there's a guide that I wrote for it, so just follow it. Alright, engine start switches have been put back on auto. There goes the lights. This lady is actually very clever. Seatbelt signs off.
Seatbelts off.
There's the install guide. It's on the same forum where you get it and where you get your support and everything. So if you follow that guide, you'll be okay. Right guys, so we are at our cruise level. Bob, I have not. No, I've not had the time and chance to do that. Alright, I'm going to save flight situation number 2 right there, and then just before top-off descent we'll do 1, and then we'll do 1 on approach, and we'll see if they work today. I did a similar tutorial a while ago and then it didn't want to work. I was very disappointed, and then Zibo fixed it for us, so I hope it's still working. For those of you that are not aware of it, Zibo is busy taking the code from Xlua script language into C++, and that's one of the things I help him with. I do a lot of the test flights and showcasing of it, so he is still hard at work with that. Alright, so now we literally just sit and wait for the time to go by. Top of descent is very short. I mean, it's 40 nautical miles, then we get there. So at this point in time, let us not waste any time. There's no point in going and doing all the advanced things, but we literally can do it. I mean, we can use our WebFMC facility with STKP. Go and check, see if we've got some winds set for us. There's no real wind, so there's no point in going all the way to the forecast, apart from checking transition level is 040. Over here we've got the ISA deviation, so we can put our 7, and obviously we know that we are on 1014, and that will just assist the aircraft with its calculations a little bit. We're going to skip the winds, there's no point in doing that, and then we can go select flaps 30 for landing. We do not have to calculate the gross weight because we're going to be within another 100 or 2, maybe 3, not more than that, kilograms. Sim 737, I don't think it's going to help with conflicts as such, but what it will do is it will take away the preloading that we have to do, because we still have to do preloading if you have a very congested machine, you know, that's full of a whole lot of add-ons and stuff. And also it's going to make it faster, more FPS friendly, you know, more lean and mean, so it's for the greater good, but I don't think it's got anything to do with clashes. If you take away the X-Lua, and by the way, Lua and X-Lua are 2 different things. If you take away the X-Lua, you're just going to get a lot of resources back, so Potato PC will be able to fly the Zibo a little bit better. Alright, the next thing we need to do is we need to come and set our descent altitude. So let's just quickly have a look at Navigraph. Just want to have a look, see if we look at the chart what we should descend to, 3,000 feet. Alright, that is going to help us. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's just bring STKP back up here. We are going to do an Ian approach. So we're going to use LNAV and VNAV and the specifications given to us over there. So we'll set up a decision altitude of 540. I think we are in the D class band because of our weights here. Then we're going to descend to 3000. We've got that, and then what we are going to do is just make sure we've got the right course heading. So let's go have a look, see. INET reference 351. 351 standard through the bank. We don't need any worries, any issues with that. We'll take auto brake 2. Let's lift it a little bit. We're going to go 1014 on the altimeter standby. Yes. 540 it was, yeah. And we've got our reference speeds, so everything there is set up. We do not want an ILS active. Alright, and The VOR is of no significance to us because we're literally flying off the FMCs. Right, so cancel that. I'm going to quickly save flight situation number 3. Right, so it's about when we are ready for descent. There's nothing else we need to do. Descent procedure.
Descent procedure.
She always switches them one out.
Sir, please check the reference speed and set minimum for approach.
Yeah, that's done. We've done all of this.
Please check that the landing altitude is set correctly.
Yeah, it's gonna know.
Descent procedure completed.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization.
Two 250 feet.
Recall.
Checked.
Auto brake.
Auto brake to
Landing
set.
data. The reference 146. Minimum sparrow 540 set. Descent checklist completed.
Right, so now we're just waiting. Hey Jordan, just see you here on Discord.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Good to see you.
Yeah, same. Are you doing well?
Yeah, I am, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, we had a 2-hour power outage at work, so I shut the shop down and came home.
Awesome.
Hello, troublemaker.
Hello, Av.
I only called him a troublemaker, Nico. He kept us, me and Paul, up to God knows at what hour last night.
I heard.
It wasn't last night, it was 4 Mac.
Yeah, Jordan, the last time we did this LPPR thing, that's when I discovered that the safe flight situation wasn't working. And me and Zibo went on that big hunting expedition. Don't know if you guys can remember, we sat here for 9 hours, him watching me, I'm flying and trying to figure out what went on. That was an awesome day.
I remember it quite vividly.
David, if you're going to fly this very same route, please be aware of speeds. Speeds is very important here. So when you get to a deceleration point and that speed bug moves here on your primary flight display, rather use your speed brake to keep as close as possible to the actual speeds, otherwise you're not going to make it. That goes for anybody else without saying, goes without saying, yes. So what I usually do is when I get to about
1000 to level off.
240 or 235 on the speed, I usually pull flaps 1 already to assist with the slowdown. Otherwise, it kind of runs away from you. Flaps 1.
Speed checked. Flaps 1. Flaps 1 set.
Flaps 5.
Speed checked. Flaps 5. Flaps 5 set.
You know what I did not do? We did not check this. We need to go RNAV and Akulu escape.
Approaching
I
transition.
missed that completely. I'm so used to the other flights. I forgot to do it over here. So that should fix Ian for us. There we go. There is our identifier for Ian, and there's the diamond. So it's going to simulate an ILS situation for us. Right, we can release that speed brake then. Right, so at some point in time here, there's going to be a little bit of a step down and a nose dive to actually intercept the glide slope there. So I'm just waiting for that.
Transition level. 1000 to level off.
Approach checklist.
1,000 to go.
Approach checklist. Yeah, she doesn't hear me say that.
Approach checklist. Altimeters.
1014. Yes, I have.
QNH 1014 set. Altitude passing 3,337 now.
There we go. Alright, so what I've done is I've now initiated the approach button. I
Approach
pressed the
checklist
button.
completed.
We've got the final approach course as well as the glide path is now enabled, and it's now treating this RNAV approach as an ordinary ILS basically. Cat 1 ILS. Alright. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 15.
Speed checked. Flaps 15. Flaps 15 set.
Plane guy, we've done it as a group flight already a few times. We spent a lot of time there in Bhutan. Flaps 30.
To level off.
Cruise limit as in range, that would depend on the load. 5,000 nautical miles or something, I'm not sure.
Flaps 30 set.
Right, so we've got flaps 30 set. Everything Seems to be hunky-dory. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
On.
Landing gear.
Down. Pilot 737, I think you are correct there. Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist completed.
Hey, Uncle John. Right, our go around altitude here is
Taxi
6,000.
lights on.
Ooh, bit of a shaky approach. Wow. Right, I'm going to then use these little blue triangles. That is my actual hardware throttles. I need to match them as close as possible to the lines on that N1 display.
Approaching.
I'm going
3,
to disconnect auto throttle now, and as you can see, the changing of that CG is paying off. It's really stable at this point. And just before we hit minimums there, I'm going to disconnect autopilot or initiate go around. So let's quickly have a look. See.
Approaching minimum 100.
Right, autopilot is off, and we are flying by hand.
Minimum 300.
Landing.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse unlocked. Auto brake in use.
And that is it. Welcome to Porter, guys.
Very nice landing, sir.
Thank you. We can cancel our
60
reverse
knots.
thrusters and let it just roll through.
5,000 feet remaining.
Thank you, 188. Yeah, I'm impressed. Alright, so I'm going to quickly go back. I don't think I actually made a last save. I don't think we've got a number 4 save. So I'm going to go back to load 3. Hope it works.
1,000 to go.
Flaps upset.
1,000 to
Right,
go.
there we go. So as you
Runway
can see,
turn
it's
off, lights
taken
off.
us back to exactly
Taxi lights
where
off.
we saved flight, the save flight number 3. Everything should be exactly in place
Stabilized.
where we left it. I'm not sure what she's doing.
Approaching
She's also
transition.
doing her bit.
Transition
Awesome.
altitude.
Thank you, Dolly. Let's do that then. Right, so I can now go back to any of these saved flights, and yes, it does. It saves everything for you. Absolutely everything. And if you find something it doesn't save, please let me know, and then I'll tell Zibo and he'll fix it again and so on. But I mean, every knob, everything should be in place. Pressurization, everything should be in place. The only thing that you don't get is automation. You have to press the button to save it, that's all. But literally, I mean, I obviously made a mistake now by not saving one on the approach. But if you really want to, you know, test or practice your approaches, for instance, you know, take it 10-15 miles out at a certain altitude, save it, come land, you know, and then It just saves so much time instead of having to fly. I mean, there's the flight time already, 26 minutes. To do a circuit, you could do 3 or 4 landings in that time, you know, and practice a little bit. Excellent, Krister. And that's it, guys. That's it. I'm gonna basically just go and save that flight and land it again. See if we can land better or worse. We'll see. Pressure is on. But David, that's about the tutorial, my friend. Nothing more in terms of just a refresher course. Just to tell you guys and to show you guys. That's about it. What we need to do is get together again. Let me help you with all the settings we were talking about earlier. You know, get your sim brief up to speed, get the Zibo into Sim Toolkit Pro, and then, you know, I can go fly tomorrow together. Sim 737, that's not really realistic because the weather is going to change on you, you know, so there's certain aspects you can, certain aspects that you cannot do. But I hear you, it's a good idea, a reasonable idea. The only prerequisite, guys, I almost forgot to mention this, for you to use the recall or restore flight situation is your engines need to be running. It will not work if your engines is not running. You can't go into a flight situation and then try and start the engines. It's going to mess up everything. Please start it on the ground before you use this. Thank you, Krister. Thanks for the invitation. That is true. If you want more teaching, I do a lot of teaching on Discord that you guys don't see. Zibo, thank you, sir. Guys, Zibo's actually watching the stream with us, and he's just said I did a great job. So thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Can I ask one question, Nico?
Yeah?
This version 4?
What do you mean version 4? Yes, yeah, for the Zibo, yeah, it's the latest one. Yeah, it's the Zibo 43.4.
Thank you. You might want to amend the title, perhaps refresh a flight using which version you use, because this is your first flight before, isn't it?
Yeah. In the notes below the video, I think I did set it up, Mac. Let me just have a look. Yeah, if you go to show more, it's got it listed. There's aircraft and sim used. Right, now I'm sleeping. Let's quickly get the
1000 to level
speed
up.
brakes out. We can assist this descent. Some 737 pilot, you might want to just update to .4 that I'm flying now. Zibo fixed a lot of bugs in 43 that you might not be aware of, but trust me, I'm going to do it now, David. Thanks. I just want to get to the straight and narrow there at the end. Once we take that right hand turn, I'll save it quickly. So anyway, coming back to the version we're flying now, there's a lot of bugs that have been fixed. So 343 is nice. This is nicer, trust me. Let's go flaps 1. Alright, and then I just realized that we did not do that approach. So we need
Flaps
to
one
quickly
set.
go do that again. RNAV with Akulu and execute. There we have the detail. Going to flaps 5. Thank you, Krister. Great minds think alike. I just realized
Flaps
it
5
myself,
set.
eh? Yes,
Approaching
yes,
transition.
David. Yes, you can do that. I'll show you in the output. I think it's in the output folder. There is a folder called situations, and the saved flights are saved in there. So you can actually save your saved flights for posterity. We had a couple of times where Zibo changed. Let's just do this quickly. Hold on, guys. Save flight number 4 right there. Okay. We had a couple of situations where Zibo changed the formats and he was still working out the kinks, and you couldn't actually save the flights for long term because it just wasn't compatible with the next version of the Zibo mod. So what then happened was it seems to have now gone to a stable side, so it's in a stable position, and you should really be able to do that for a while now. I actually had my Paro approach set as one of my saved flights. It was awesome to do that flight. We'll do it one day again.
1,000 to go.
Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 15.
Speed checked. Flaps 15. Flaps 15 set.
Flaps 30.
Speed checked. Flaps 30.
Cresta ready is on.
Flaps 30 set.
We'll just make double sure. There we go, it definitely was. Yes, David, that's fine. I can see the 3 green there. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
No worries, Krister. So you can't hear me say arm, so let's forget about that.
Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
1000 to level off. Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist completed.
Right, so let's just check. We've got the seat belts, we've got all the switches, and everything should take care of the lights for us. I'm actually going to override save flight number 1 here on finals, so we can actually come back just here. I mean, we don't need to go further. Everything is fully configured for landing. All we need to do is get in now, so you can even do that. Right, and then the go around altitude was 6,000.
1,000 feet, stabilized. Mr. Perch, altitude set.
Taxi lights on.
Mac,
Yes.
I'm sure that memory leak is not fixed. My FPS is diminishing by the minute. I'm below 20
Really?
FPS already. Yeah, it's not fixed. This Vulcan is still broken.
That's obviously
Approaching.
scenery
3,
though.
5.
You've got auto running here.
Yeah, I do. And if I take autos off, the memory leak goes away.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had it in 2 days now, and all of a sudden it's back. It's like, ah.
Yeah. I did a 24-hour stability saturation check last night. Stationary.
Approaching minimum 400.
Explain isn't leaking memory over time, you know, cloud loading and things like that.
Minimums
I didn't get
300.
memory leaking at all.
Yeah, but did you have autos?
No, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't
Yeah.
changing scenery,
Okay.
but the weather would be
200.
changing.
Yeah, I
So the
got you.
weather isn't affecting it.
No, it's the
gonna be
autos.
the- It's going to be the scenery, yeah.
Yeah. Because I started with
100.
40 plus here.
50, 40, 30, 20.
No, it's not the right time. But
10.
when you get an appropriate map, and just see what the VRAM's doing at the moment. You know.
Oh, that was hard. Yeah, we'll look at VRAM just now.
80 knots. Throttle hold.
That was a bit harder. Killer, I'm alright, thank you. How are you doing? Sorry, Christer, that was a bit of a harder landing. And that just goes to prove why you need to save a flight, so you can actually, I brought the nose down, but then I lifted it because I was just scared it was going to be even harder. So anyway, yeah, I'm good, thank you, I'm good. Let's quickly see if this one actually worked, the save flight. Let's see.
Runway turn off, lights off. Taxi lights off. Stabilized. Flaps 30 set. Flaps 30 set.
Okay, something has gone wrong here. I didn't like the save flight. So there's that as well. One of the scripts could have gone broken now.
Flaps 5 set. Transition level.
Yeah, that's better.
1000 to level off.
He didn't like that last save flight situation. Christian, we're going to do it one more
Flaps
time and then we
15
call
set.
it quits. I'm pretty sure I can do a
Transition
better job.
1000 to level off.
1,000 to go.
Killer, that's awesome. Yeah, I also got Flight Sim 2020 gifted to me. So I've been toying with it in the background. I did. I loaded 4. We are using number 4, David. When I overwrote number 1, I'm not sure whether it actually saved it properly or not. I just clicked it and it looks like we're gonna
Flaps 30 set. 1000 to
we're
level
gonna
off.
have a problem. You see, it didn't save properly. Number 1 didn't save, so let's go back to number 4, and then I'll just save another one.
1,000 to go.
Flaps 5 set. Transition
Nice.
level. 1000 to level off.
And I need to work overtime, so what I'm going to do is just go slightly forward and
Flaps
then we'll
15
save number 1 again. Yeah, we're in Discord.
Transition level.
Okay, the caution is because of the unscheduled descent. The pressurization system just needs to catch up. So that's nothing to worry about. Okay, so let's pull landing flaps. Let's get into landing configuration. I'll try and save that one again.
Flaps 30 set.
just settle. We're okay now, so safe flight. Oh, wait. Press it twice, make sure it overrides nicely. If you like taking a hammer. Ah! Oh. There we go. Alright, so let's just wait and see what happens now. I'm not gonna go and run Linda again. We know what needs to happen and what not, so you've seen how she does it. David, your position where you are, whether you're in the ground, on the ground or in the air, is not relevant to the safe flight situation. I just think that when it's saved, it didn't save properly. That's why I'm in the habit of pressing that button 2 or 3 times, you know, just to make perfectly sure that it did save. Right, we are all set. I'm actually going to go for max auto brake this time, so we stop a bit quicker, faster.
To level off.
Killer, no, I'm not interested in that yet. I've got the honeycomb yoke and my other side deck equipment and thrustmaster stuff already. I don't fly Airbus that much. I was thinking of maybe flying an Airbus tonight, and then I got sidetracked because our friend David here needed a refresher course, and I hope you know that more people benefit from it. So that's why we are not flying Airbus. I fly Airbus once in, I would say 3 or 4 months. I would do one flight just to do it for the hell of it, but I'm not an Airbus guy. And I'm actually glad I didn't fly the Airbus because Zibo came into the stream, you know, so you don't want the boss to see you moonlighting. Yeah, it's much easier.
I like that. I like that.
Right, so that was done a bit prematurely, so now I'm going to have to balance it quick. Forgot to balance the levers.
Approaching minimum 400. Minimum 300. $200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Sorry, I was looking up at my son. Can you believe it? But that's a better landing, 160. I had to pull it because I saw that was going to be another heavy one. So anyway, all's good that end good, eh?
60 knots.
Well, close one, yeah, absolutely, and you won, Krister. You won. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's given you a little bit of insight of just how to get quickly going and just practice a little bit, and a couple of things that you can do with the Zibo. I hope some of the guys from the Zibo community did find their way here. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to advertise the Zibo streams on the Zibo community forum. That's just Tom's rule, and we have to abide by it. So I hope you guys saw it, because we had this discussion there briefly about the saving of the flights and all, and I really hope you see it. So here we go. That's the end of this this little tutorial. Guys, go have a good, awesome rest of your Saturday, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 800 Zulu, and we're gonna have some fun again. I might actually take the Airbus out for a spin tomorrow morning. Then I'll see how I feel then. Until then, cheerio, guys. Bye bye. Thanks for watching and being here.
Thank you, Nico.
You're welcome.